You've probably heard this before: do what you love and you'd never work a day in your life. And for years, every time I would hear that, I felt like I was missing something because I'm really good at what I do, but I don't love it. And for a long time, I thought that meant I was somehow failing at life. So today, we're going to talk about that because I think that quote, as popular as it is incomplete. And it might be costing you more than you realize. Every time I would hear someone talk about how much they loved their job, I felt bad. Like somehow there was something wrong with me. Why didn't I feel that way? Why couldn't that be my story? Here I was doing well. I was getting promoted. I was excelling in this industry. And I was trusted to actually do more complex projects. But privately, I was wondering, when was I going to wake up and be excited about work? And then in 2019, this was about almost 7 years in the field, the director I worked for early on said something to me that I was not expecting. So she said I was hands down one of the best coordinators she'd ever had. Now, I was flattered because I am a sucker for a compliment. I love it. But did I believe her? No. It took me until this year. Yes, I know we're in 2026 for me to actually believe it. That's 7 years later. 7 years for me to accept the truth that someone else could clearly see about me. And I think I know why it took so long. I had convinced myself that being good at my job wasn't enough. I needed to love it. And I think that was my misinterpretation of the quote. That's why I said it's incomplete. I'm not here to argue that it's wrong, because if you find something that you are passionate about and it pays you well, you're lucky. You're one of the truly lucky ones, and that's a beautiful thing. But here's what the quote didn't say: not everyone can find something they're passionate about that affords them the life that they want, or even affords them a life that is realistic. And when someone like me focuses on that statement wholeheartedly, you would miss out on embracing how good you are at something. You know, how much value you bring, how much you've grown, how much you've accomplished. You spend your energy mourning a passion you don't have instead of honoring the excellence that you do. So here's what I've come to believe after 15 years, and it's still something that I have to remind myself about. Passion is subjective, but hard work is decisive. You can't decide to be passionate about something. You either feel it or you don't. But you absolutely can decide to do something well. You can decide to show up, you can decide to learn, to grow, and to be excellent. And excellence, real excellence, has nothing to do with whether you love what you do or not. So when I got into healthcare research, it was by accident. I was a pediatric ICU nurse. That did not afford me any kind of balance, not just even in my life, but in my sanity. And when I was in nursing school, this is the funny part. I said with my full chest that I'm never going into healthcare research. Joke's on me. I didn't want to go into healthcare research because I thought it was boring. But because I was in a desperate situation, I truly needed my life to make sense at the time. I took on a job in research. I had no idea what I was doing. I figured my nursing background was going to help me, and it did. As I started doing it, I definitely tried to be excellent. So I showed up, I learned the job. I didn't love it, but I decided I was just going to do it well. And that decision, not passion, is what made me excel. If you're good at what you do and it's giving you the life that you want to live, that's not settling. That just makes sense. And it was something that I missed seeing until recently, but I'm glad that I see it now. However, if the job is toxic, you're being disrespected and it's damaging your health, that's a different conversation entirely. And I say exit plan ASAP. So what I'm talking about is the woman who is thriving professionally, but you still feel like there's something missing because you don't love your job. That was where I was. And here's what I want to say to her: your hard work is not less valuable because it doesn't come with passion, and your excellence isn't less real because it doesn't come with excitement. And I also want to speak to the woman who's given up on finding something that she is passionate about, something that she loves, because bills got to be paid. And because of that, you think that doing something that you're passionate about is a luxury that you cannot afford. I was you. I understand. But what helped me balance all of this is doing something that I am passionate about. And it also helped me not quit my job because when you keep hearing people talking about, I love my job, and you wake up every day and you're like, ugh, here we go again, but it's something that you're good at, it's a hard place to be. However, I needed to figure out some kind of balance to that. And it was finding YouTube. But I find that I enjoy doing this. I enjoy Embrace and Simplify You. I love this community. I love talking to you guys, you ladies, you people, you humans. That is what helped with the balance. I knew that I had to keep my job because I was good at it and it pays the bills, but I also needed to do something that I was passionate about just so it didn't make the job unbearable. And it's not always easy to admit because when you say you don't love your job, some people think you're coming from a place of ingratitude. And that's not fair. You don't have to love it to be good at it, and you don't have to love it to do it. Sometimes, as an adult, you're going to have to do the things that you do not want to do, but you need to do because your job does not have to be your passion, but you do need to find something you're passionate about. So here's what I want to leave you with. So, first, if you're good at your job, stop apologizing for not loving it. However, I want you to make the decision to do it with excellence, not for your employer, but for yourself. Because the standard you hold for yourself truly reflects who you are. But the second thing I want you to do is find your outlet. And I don't mean scrolling on social media because that's a time thief and ain't nobody got time for that, literally. Ask yourself, what is something I can do for hours and not even feel like time has gone by? That's your passion. It is not social media. And if you're lucky that your passion and your job are the same things, I am so happy for you because that's a beautiful thing. So you don't have to love what you do to be great at it. You don't have to be passionate about your job or your career. And you don't need to keep measuring yourself against a quote that was never written for your specific story. It wasn't written for my specific story. So I'd love to know in the comments, what is something that you're good at that you don't love? Or what is something that you're passionate about that you do outside of work? I'd love for us to engage. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kim. I would love for you to join the Fab Fam by subscribing. I also have a bi-weekly newsletter. It is free, and the link is in the description. And if no one has told you this today, you're valuable, you have purpose, you're more than enough, and you are fabulous. Until my next video, I recommend you watching the one that pops up on your screen right now. I think you're going to love it. I'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.